Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So tonight I want to talk about Bitcoin and how Bitcoin pumps every time this happens. And you may have guessed we're in that time right now. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about what happened today, why markets are moving up again, and there are a lot of crypto projects right now pumping, and I'm going to cover some of them. So let's get started. Welcome, guys. As you can see, Bitcoin is right back above 23,000. In fact, 23,300. Much better than this morning. This morning we were like 22.8, 22.9, right? Couldn't get over the hump, and we got over the hump today because Chair Powell spoke, and he said some, I don't know. To me, it seemed like he said the same thing he did last week, right? But people were like really like getting fearful about what he may say. He said the same thing. Basically, disinflation, that's what he calls it, not deflation. Disinflation has happened. We had 3 consecutive months where CPI reading, inflation reading went down, right? And he will continue to watch that. And basically, he's like, the only 2 things that could sway this or sway their future decisions is if the labor market continued to be super strong, or inflation comes back up, right? And this is, he's referencing last week because the U.S. added like over 500,000 jobs, which is quite a lot in one single week. So yeah, those are 2 things he said, and that's about it. And I caught pieces of this. There's at one point someone asked him, hey, how much do you make in a year? And he's like, approximately 190,000. And then he was asking, do you think that's a fair salary? And he's like, yes. And then he turned to the audience and everyone started laughing. But I mean, if you think about it, his decision-making affects trillions upon trillions of dollars, not only the U.S., but it really dictates what the world is going to do. I say he should up his salary a little bit. Maybe do a 10x. Seems like his responsibility is way larger than what he's getting paid. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Something I thought was kind of curious, I guess. But anyways, so after this, things started doing good. Bitcoin started rising. The entire market turned green. So we'll see if this follows, right? There's more Fed governors that's going to be talking today, this week. I don't know what they're going to say. So far, all the ones have been really bullish, like trying to throw this hawkish stance, meaning that it seems like they all want more rate hikes for some reason. They want the U.S. economy to suffer more. I don't know why they want that when things are still strong, economy is still strong, inflation's coming down, right? They should be more dovish, more happy, but no, all of them are like so strict, like, yeah, we need to continue raising rates and doing this and that, right? I don't know why. Anyways, outside of this, other big news is, I covered this morning, Microsoft was going to make a big announcement with ChatGPT, and they did. They announced many things. Number 1, ChatGPT is going to be integrated with Bing, and right now, some people already have it within their Edge browser when you go to Bing. Others have to wait. I try to do it. I'm in some wait list, but many of you guys could try it. And it's integrated, so you can basically just ask it to do whatever, and it'll do it. Really cool stuff. Like there was at one point where they went to some financial report, like a Q1 report for some company. And then you could just ask ChatGPT, hey, summarize this for me. Rather than read through a 15-page document, it will auto-scan and then just summarize it for you. So that's like the kind of example that you could expect with ChatGPT integrated with Bing, right? So it's very, very, very big. And even the CEO, Satya Nadella, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Microsoft CEO, he even said this is the biggest thing since cloud. That's how big he thinks this is. And he's going to allow companies to also modify and create their own AI assistant based on their own needs. So Microsoft they have a big plan for this. They're going all in on this, which is of course, why AI projects overall, anything that people think has anything to do with AI in crypto right now is exploding. Besides the 3 that I've mentioned, there's others that are exploding, even though they really have nothing to do with AI, but people think they do, and we'll cover some of those tonight. But there's just a whole lot of projects pumping because of AI right now and the hype around AI. There's quite a lot of it. All right, but before I get to that, just talking about Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin pumped up. Michael Saylor, biggest Bitcoin bull we know of right now. The people need an asset that cannot be debased, running on a network that cannot be stopped, governed by a protocol that cannot be corrupted. That's Bitcoin in a nutshell. It's an asset, the best asset that we have, arguably. The best and most secure and stable and decentralized network, right? And governed by a protocol that cannot be corrupted, meaning that you don't have a central bank, you don't have a government that's controlling things. Controlled by the people, controlled by the people and the miners around the world, distributed, right? So it's kind of like all 3, and it is the greatest thing we have right now, especially compared to what the central banks and the governments around the world, and how they're trying to control inflation and money and the whole financial system, really. If you learn about it, you realize that it's just every single one is a gigantic Ponzi scheme. And at some point, they will collapse. And it sounds funny, but if you really dig into it, it really is. It really is. They're all run like Ponzi schemes. And it can't be sustainable. And we're still talking about raising a debt ceiling in the U.S., which will make things even worse. But it's just a never-ending cycle of borrowing, printing, and borrowing and printing and borrowing and printing and borrowing and printing. And basically, we overspend. We spend way more as a country than we earn. And that's why we're in this endless cycle, this vicious cycle that'll never end, right? But that's why Michael Saylor and others like myself and you guys, we decided to opt out. We decided to get into something better rather than hold on fiat. We're holding on Bitcoin, and we're holding on crypto, right? And this is what I want to show you guys. Bitcoin pumps every single time this happens. And what is happening right now? Right now. If you look at all the halving events, basically every cycle that Bitcoin has gone through, right? 500 days before the next halving event, every single time, okay? And it happened 3 times prior to right now. 500 days before the halving event, we are recovering. We're recovering from bottom. And we make a good recovery. We don't quite recover back up to the last previous high, but we get pretty close, okay? And then we hit that halving event, and guess what happens? Then we go on a crazy, tremendous pump. It happens every single time, right? And sure enough, 500 days before the next halving event, which is approximately last month, we started recovering. Like, it's like clockwork. It's like clockwork, right? Seems like it shouldn't happen. Seems like with all the macro stuff and all the printing and inflation and everything that's going on, that we can't possibly be following the same footsteps as before. But we are, exactly, and we're just getting started. Think about it. We're getting started. We're coming back up. We're already at 23,000. We were at 24,000 not too long ago. Imagine before the next halving event, how high we will be, and then imagine what happens after that halving event occurs, right? Here's another one that measures it quite nicely. 69%. So we're nearing 70%, okay, of the current halving cycle. And you could see previous times when we have hit 69%, that's like literally like the bottom. And then we start recovering afterwards. And it's the same thing this time around, right? So here's another way to look at it. So things are moving according to schedule, and they haven't deviated at all That's how strong and powerful Bitcoin is. And why do I always say it's the best asset or the hardest asset or the best store of value or hedge against inflation? Well, someone calculated this for us. Had you invested $1 in Bitcoin back in 2010, that $1 worth of Bitcoin would be worth $30 million today. Think about that. $1 back in 2010. I know you guys remember 2010, even though it seemed like that was an eternity ago. That was 13 years ago. Had you invested $1, you would be worth $30 million today. But if you instead invested $1 into gold, you're still at like $1. It hasn't moved at all, right? So this is the pain Peter Schiff feels, because had he just put some of it, a little bit of his gold holdings into Bitcoin, he would be a multi-billionaire right now, and he even admitted it so in recent interviews, right? So, but this is why Bitcoin. This is why so many people believe in Bitcoin, and where we're at right now is not the end. We will continue forward because of everything, all the shenanigans and the Ponzi's that are run by the governments around the world, right? And also, here's interesting. This is the first time, I believe, the first time ever that the exchanges are actually losing Bitcoin. The reserves are dropping, despite the fact that we're not really in a bull cycle. Normally you would see this when, actually, if you look at this, we really don't see much of a drop, right? Leading up to 2020, we really, no matter if it's bull or bear, you just really see Bitcoin, the balance on exchanges keeps going up, right? But in 2020, that's when it changed. That's really, if you think about it, the turning point for Bitcoin. And since 2020 till now, Bitcoin's reserve has been doing nothing but drop and drop and drop and drop. And that's because the holders are getting smarter and there's more holders and basically taking the Bitcoin out of the exchanges and putting in their cold wallets or some kind of custody service, right? So think about this. We really haven't gone through prolonged periods where the reserves on exchanges drop while Bitcoin is going up. We only experienced it once, but imagine as this supply keeps going down and down and down and down, and then we're entering a bull market. I mean, it could be very, very, very different than all previous cycles that we have seen before. It could be. Just think about that also. So that's all the bullish stuff about Bitcoin, quite a lot. But the biggest thing is Bitcoin pumps every time we get close to the next halving event. It's a precursor. 500 days before the halving event, Bitcoin starts rallying up, starts making a good recovery. And then afterwards, boom, that's when we see Bitcoin truly shine, right? Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, what about crypto overall? Well, today is a pretty good day. Look at it, up almost 3%, closing in at 1.10 trillion. I believe this is equal to our previous high just from last week. You have some good movers. You have a lot of projects, L1, L2s up 4, 5%, and that's good because just recently, the last few days, it went down a little bit. But you see some crazy movement right now. There's a lot of projects that's really pumping because people are thinking they're tied with AI, right? But even, just outside of AI plays, you have L1, L2. Like, for example, I'm eyeballing like Near Protocol up 7. You could see VeChain up 11. Glad to see that. A lot of people asking about VeChain. I've not given up on them, but they're really slow moving at times, right? You have Phantom up about 10%. But today you can see Graph is up 46%, so I'm going to try to explain that a little bit. It's one of the projects people think has something to do with AI. It really doesn't, but overall, I'll explain what it is. You have a couple of decentralized gaming plays, right? Including ones I even mentioned yesterday pumping. Sandbox has some big news I'll explain, right? But there's others like Immutable X that went up quite a lot today, 26% today. Just covered them yesterday along with some others. But Singularity, again, is pumping still. Fetch AI is still pumping. A lot of the AI plays are pumping right now. But overall, today is a good day. And then you have Engine that's also pumping. That's due to metaverse gaming. So you really have like 3 major categories that's pumping today. L1, L2s, metaverses, and AI. That's 3 very important categories. All right, so with that said, what's going on with the graph? All right, a lot of you guys have talked about the graph. I talked about the graph. So what's going on with the graph? The graph is considered Google of blockchains. Is it really? To simplify what graph does, it indexes and categorizes data, okay, for chains and for projects for data retrieval and helps those projects offer APIs so that other projects can fetch that data, okay? Essentially, that's what it does. They call it Google blockchains because it indexes basically whatever's within a chain, and then it looks at all the dApps and stuff like that, right? But then it offers those dApps the ability to create APIs so other dApps can retrieve data. That's essentially what the graph is all about. Now, they have good funding, as you can see here, 50 million round led by Tiger Global. This was back last month in January, but not too far away, right? But what's important is they are hooked up with many different chains. For example, they're not just supporting Ethereum, but also Near, Arbitrum, okay, Optimism, Polygon, Avalanche, Celo, Phantom, Moonbeam, IPFS, and a lot of DeFi projects like Uniswap, Synthetic, Known Origin, which is now bought by eBay, and several others also partner up with the graph, right? So basically, they're helping dApps and chains, helping them get indexed and get them prepared for data retrieval. That's quite simply it. Do they have any direct connection with AI? The answer is no. They don't use AI agents. They don't have any AI data marketplace. Do they have anything to do with AI? No. But people are kind of speculating, well, maybe they're going to get involved with AI, or maybe some AI project is going to somehow make graph better. That's the working theory right now, because they really don't have any ties to AI. But regardless, they're a promising project. I have covered them before. I've always thought they were kind of neutral, but they are definitely pumping up because the AI craze right now, right? And here's some interesting facts. As of Q4 2022, 618 subgraphs have migrated from the Graph's holding system to the decentralized network. So they are now on Arbitrum. They started out with Ethereum. I believe that's the correct. Yeah, I believe that is correct. And you can see their queries and indexes and everything else has been going up, right? So overall, they're moving in the right direction. Last week, they set a new record, the highest number of dApps querying in the past 2 months. You have 129 unique dApps querying the network, 2.2 million queried overall, right? So good numbers, solid numbers, right? They have also, yes, they have basically moved to Arbitrum, as well as all those other chains that I did mention, right? So they are all over the place, right? So that's the graph in a nutshell. They've been around for quite some time. And, you know, right now they're doing very well. So that's good for people that have gotten into it. But, you know, as for whether or not they're really into AI, no. But you know what? Maybe they will be in the future. Now, something that complements the graph really well, because if you are a dApp or a chain that needs to fetch data from someone that's using the graph, well, you will need to use Chainlink, right? So Chainlink is a natural evolution. They haven't really pumped, but I have a feeling if the graph is being associated with AI, Chainlink could be another one, because Chainlink is the Oracle network that allows dApps and chains to fetch data from other dApps and chains And not only internally in the crypto space, but also externally, so that if you're a decentralized project, you could fetch data from centralized places. For example, if you wanted weather data or you wanted stock data from a stock exchange, right? You can fetch those data into your decentralized app. And Chainlink is also partnered up with vast number of chains and dApps. Literally every single DeFi project in this space right now utilizes Chainlink because they are by far the most reliable, trustworthy, and biggest decentralized Oracle network out there. And I'm going to show you a graph that's kind of mind-blowing. But that's what the Chainlink is, and they are absolutely essential. And here's the graph I want to show you guys. Yes, there are other oracles out there, but the second biggest is Berry, and I've never heard of them. I did hear a band before, right? They have 170 projects or 80 projects, 71 projects. Here's the thing. Chainlink has 1,300 projects utilizing them, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of the projects that utilize all these other ones also utilize Chainlink. It's crucial to use an oracle that won't go down, that won't be hacked, because we have seen DeFi projects get hacked by tens of millions, hundreds of millions by using the wrong oracle. Okay, so that's how big they are. And also, of course, you know, a lot of DeFi projects I mentioned, like Aave, right, is involved with Chainlink. I mean, there's just like literally every single DeFi project involved with Chainlink. And what's exciting about Chainlink is they never had staking before. It's always been, you know, talked about, but recently they launched testing of staking. So pretty soon everyone will be able to stake Chainlink and make the tokens even more, well, take some tokens out of circulation. It's not making it deflationary, but it does definitely help, you know, price appreciation as more link gets locked up, right? So that's also something big that is coming. Last two things. Render also been doing pretty well recently, and that's because they just voted, or at least the project did, and the community voted for this new model for burn and mint. So they're going to change how the token economic works and how minting works. So basically, they want to make it deflationary. So when people actually pay for services, right, they burn the equivalent amount of render, which will be given to the stakers. But overall, they're changing the way people are paying and also how they're being burned. So a lot of people are very excited about this. Render also has nothing to do with AI, okay, in case you're wondering. But it has everything to do with renting GPU, rendering time from people that want to lease it out, basically. It's decentralized or crowdsourcing, I would say, rendering projects. So that's essentially what it is, but a lot of people are excited about it, and plus because the market's going up, they're doing quite well. So good for Render. And lastly, why decentralized metaverses or gaming plays are going up is because of this, I believe. Sandbox agrees to collaborate a metaverse project with Saudi Arabia, and who knows what they're planning, but the EAU, you know, they got big bucks, right? And they're trying to integrate themselves somehow in the Sandbox. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's a huge, huge partnership, probably a lot of funding, right? This is why Sandbox went up, why Decentralized went up, why a lot of other gaming projects went up today. This is the reason, right? So today we got a lot of good movers. Can't complain. It's a good day overall, right? All right, let's do some Q&A. Test G. Appreciate it. George, what do you think about Loopring's wallet's red packets? The partnership with Protocol Gemini makes the possibility endless. I know about Loopring. They're also kind of like L2 project. They were concentrating on DEXs. They kind of moved into the L2 space. I don't know what this red packets is really all about. So, and right now, partnerships with Gemini, to be honest, not the greatest. Anything that do with a Gemini is kind of tainted a little bit because of their lawsuit with SEC and because of their ties with DCG. But I'll look into it. Yeah, the State of Union address is on. I don't know if it's ended, but I don't know what Biden said. I don't think anything that important. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you talk about Telcoin? I don't really have anything to say about Telcoin. They're in the remittance service. I don't know what they're up to recently. Ever since they got a bank in Wyoming, I think, that's when the news kind of stopped about Telcoin. Why are Theta and Veracity pumping? Kind of because they're in the gaming, in the gaming space, and plus almost everything is going up, Dave. That's kind of reason why. I see people making comments. No way, Powell just makes $190,000. Yeah, that's what he said. He said he makes $190,000 a year, which seems incredibly low based on his duties. Right? He should be making like $19 million a year. There's some CEOs out there making like $50 or $100 million a year, and they have way less responsibility than he does. Not a fan of Marlin. Just because something goes up like 53% a month, illegals, just so you know, doesn't mean that it's all that good. People are just speculating and buying everything. If you look in CMC, basically everything is up tremendously, right? There are definitely good projects that are going up. There are ones that people are speculating in, but there are some ones that are pumping just for no good reason. Sometimes you don't need a reason. Someone says XRP is AI related. I'm not so sure that's the case. Take a look at Compound about to explode. Well, just like some of the other DeFi projects, Lido has been doing really well recently, right? They're up 15% today. Some of the other projects like Aave and Compound, they've been kind of stagnant. They haven't really pumped. Can they get their turn? Yes. But overall, like DeFi or liquidity protocol plays like Aave and Compound, they tend to be slower. Okay, they're not as sexy. So they come up? Yes. But will they go up as much as some of these other more speculative plays? Probably not. El Juz, appreciate it. Powell's net worth is between 22 and 50 million. That's what people say. So where do you get that money from? But all I know is his salary is $190,000 per year. Thoughts on Mina? I'm still unsold on Mina because they can't really archive well. Data retrieval is slow and not completely decentralized with Mina. Unite Life, Catalina Royale is a good play to earn game. It's actually fun. It's not like card or turn-based games, just trying to help the community out to make money for games. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Morgan, thank you. Is Powell even allowed to participate? He answered saying that if he has to sell something, he has to give 45-day notice before he can do it. So that's him. But who knows? If his wife is trading, his kids are trading, you know, I don't think they're subject to the same rules. Only if he's trading or selling. Vladimir, I already answered your question. Is there any good coins to mine besides BTC? You can mine Cadena. You can mine Dogecoin. Dogecoin is still. I guess you could mine Litecoin, but I wouldn't suggest it. You could mine Flux. There's a few ones. A few good ones out there. Love Rumble. Love this channel on Rumble. Been following George 2+ years. You know, like, it's kind of humbling. A lot of you guys know I'm building a house right now. And the heating guy, or the guy who owns a heating company that's working in my house, he watches me. So I'll give a shout out to Henry. Because I called him one time and he's like, your voice sounds very familiar. So it's wild that even people working in my house know me. And today, I was talking to one of the electricians, and he's like, I don't know how he found out what I do, but he's like, you know, my dad, you know, he's in financial services or banking. He watches you all the time. You know, it's wild that you do 2 streams a day. I'm like, wow, okay, thank you for that. I forgot his name. Jeff, I believe. Jeff is his dad's name. Tyler is the guy I'm working with. But, man, even like, I didn't know my presence was like this large. Like people that I have no clue about actually watches my show. And it's very humbling. So thank you for everyone for watching and supporting. DZO, I remember buying BTC at 40K, and I still feel like it's a bargain now. Am I reckless? No. When you know the potential of Bitcoin, especially if you can see what's going on and put 2 and 2 together, not just with the on-chain metrics or fundamentals, just look at what's going on from a macro scale. What's going on in the world? If you start understanding money, and I don't pretend like I'm the most knowledgeable economic professor or analyst, but you know, I'm placing things together, and the more I do that, the more I think it's all broken. Jesse, you know what? I may do some videos on like the inside and stuff later on. I think my mistake was trying to show the outside, the surrounding areas, and then people get, you know, like all curious and start stalkerish, right? I should have just concentrated on the house itself, and then we would have no problems. I may do that in the future, but right now, no. You shouldn't share house blueprints. No, I didn't share it. No, it's because people are from the area and they can, you know, they can see the surrounding areas and they could use Google Maps or whatever to triangulate. There's just like a lot of stalkerish people. Do you think if ChatGPT gets more advanced in the future, it could swing trade traditional stocks and crypto? Yeah, it definitely could. You could already tell it to create bots for you. It could create sophisticated languages. I saw just today how whatever test that Google gives out for its new level 3 engineers, well, I guess they have level 1, 2, 3. 3 is kind of like in the middle. It's top tier, making about $200,000 a year. They took that test and they asked ChatGPT to answer, and it answered correctly. So actually, that's how smart it is. It could actually operate as a developer for Google already. So in the future, can you use it to trade the markets, create bots that help trade, trade markets? Yes, I think so. Rich, I appreciate that. You have no idea how much hoops cost. Like, you would figure, because you buy outside hoop, it's like a few $100s. If you get like a good one, maybe like $1,000. Indoor court hoops, the ones you hang on the walls, they're ridiculously expensive. And there's not that many that actually build, sports courts for you, because it's not very common. But man, I was quoted like close to $3,000 a backboard and rim, right? And I'm putting 3 of them, so that's like almost $9,000, right? It's ridiculous how expensive some things are. Have you heard of Akura AI? Dominic the dev seems smart, but who knows? Kind of sounds familiar. Did you spell it right? Yeah, I guess you did. Oh, very, very small. No volume. When the volume is this low, it's like you just don't even look at it. It could be manipulated way too much. So I'm going to say no right now. Can ChatGPT hack BTC? No. No, it cannot. Matic is still doing good. Top 10, right? You got a lot of L1s moving up. Phantom is still hot right now, which is good. Cosmos above 15, climbing the ranks. That's good. Avalanche also. And same thing, Polkadot. I don't talk about Polkadot a lot, but they're coming up. They're recovering nicely too. I mean, this is what we want to see. Slow and steady recovery. You can't expect the market to just do this, rocket ship upwards, okay? If it does, it's unhealthy. We don't want that. We'd rather see what we're seeing right now. Slow and steady upward recovery, right? Leading up to the halving event. And then afterwards, then we do this. But leading up to the halving event, you don't want to go like this too fast. Because if we do, then it comes down too. So no, it's not Wednesday today. Last week I DCA'd a little early because I was on the sauce a little too much and I got my days confused, but not today. I have the Lakers game on record, so I'm gonna go watch it after this. And we'll see if LeBron could break the record. Hey, George, just an idea. What if you gifted out to your Twitch viewers once a month? If a subscriber has enough watch points that he or she gets an entry, a drawing. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. The whole point of streaming on Twitch is to try to get some more people to watch that don't watch me already, right? The point is not to draw YouTube people into Twitch. That's pointless. I'm trying to draw a new crowd to watch me, but no one on Twitch is watching. With 8 viewers right now, basically, after this week, I'm going to stop streaming on Twitch. It's just, there's just no point. Just no point. YouTube is trash. It never tells me when you're live. I get that a lot. So make sure you hit that notification bell because you don't automatically get notified. And even if you have that notification bell on and it still doesn't notify you, uncheck and recheck it again. And plus, you guys should know my schedule. If you're a regular watcher, you know my schedule. 8:30 a.m. or p.m. That's pretty easy to know, right? And that's Monday through Friday. And a Saturday and Sunday, 10:30 a.m. I try to keep it simple for you guys. Juice goals, appreciate it. If you stream from a hot tub, your Twitch will be popping. Or if I'm a hot, attractive lady, that will also help. Wearing barely nothing, you know. I don't think it's going to work the same if I come off that way. Nexa made 6K mine and just got listed on CMC. No, never heard of Nexa. They're a mining play. 22 million, probably relatively small. They're on exchanges I've never heard of before. TXBit and SafeTrade. Probably their own dexes. Never heard of them. Their circuit supply is only 10% out of their max supply. Too many decimal points. I'm going to say no to that. Bitcoin is still around 23.2. Tomorrow, Biden wants to do something like a billionaire tax. I don't know what that's about. Tomorrow is pretty flat right now. Considering today turned green, I'm just going to go on a limb and say tomorrow will turn green too. There's no reason for it to be red. The main guy already spoke, and that's Powell. You know, we got some other board governors speaking, but they're irrelevant compared to Powell. Powell's the main guy. So he already said his piece, and there's really nothing holding the market back at this point. Where can I buy Singularity? You can buy in a lot of places. I think Maxi, KuCoin, Binance, Uniswap, Gate.io. Yeah, I mean, you could find them pretty much everywhere. They're not on any US-based exchange, so you're going to have to use like a foreign one. But, you know, if you can't use Binance, KuCoin, or Maxi, they're good. They're good. What about the State of the Union? I obviously I'm not watching right now, so I can't really comment, but I don't know what Biden is saying. Should I keep taking profit and stack up BTC? I have ETH BTC. I don't use USD anymore. Should I keep taking profit and stacking up BTC? I mean, yes. I mean, especially if you don't use USD anymore, you just keep stacking. We're still far off from high. It's not like we're at 200,000 Bitcoin, right? There's still a long ways to go. The ceiling is really high within this cycle, right? So people are asking, should I continue DCA even though it's going up? Yeah, you just set out a schedule. Don't worry about it. You know, that's kind of the easiest way to do it. Take the guessing out of it, right? But everyone's situation is different, so you set a schedule for yourself. How much you want to DCA, when you want to DCA, right? Just find a schedule that works for you. But never invest more than what you could afford to lose, meaning that you're only investing side money, right? Money that you don't need to use day to day, you know? So you're not using your mortgage money or rent money or car payment money, child support money. You're using side money, extra money that you can actually invest. All right, guys, let's call it a night. Overall, BTC is doing good. We'll see how it does tomorrow. We got some more AI news, so AI stuff is pumping. We got some Bitcoin stuff, of course. What happens 500 days before Everytime Halving. we are going through that right now. And plus, you know, I talked about some promising projects. So have a good one, guys. Have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.